Hello, good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. You are live with Dom, Master Mateo, and Michael Huddie, the Hudstonator. We are live on YouTube because it is Tuesday, the 28th day of May, 2024, my last day as a 28-year-old. So it is very bittersweet today, this episode of Good Morning NASDAQ, because when we do it tomorrow, I think I actually was born at like 10 a.m., so I'll still be 28 technically, but in the times we live in, I'll be 29. So you're rocking with the two oldest Clovers here. Huddie knows a thing or two about being 29. How are we doing this morning, sir?
I've been here at the 29s for almost a year now. It's been
You're
great.
like September, aren't you?
October.
October. I was so close. You're hunting season. I'll remember that from now on.
I'm hunting season.
Welcome in, everybody. We got Austin in the room, Wayne, Joseph, Mash for fun. Good Morning NASDAQ is a fun show that we like to do every single morning that the market is open. 8:45 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9:15 a.m. on Wednesdays for some live trading, where we talk about stocks. We talk about the biggest gappers of the day here in small cap land, cheapies under $10 a share. And we talk about the fundamentals, the catalyst, the news, the dilution, the daily charts. We give you our little spins and takes on them, tell you what we'd be interested in, what we wouldn't, and help formulate your plans. It's also just a fun way to hang out together in the morning, in the pre-market, when I know you guys are sitting at your screens, just sitting there trying to find something to watch, something to listen to. So you might as well tune in with us and have a great time as well. We also do encourage the like button be hit. We are, not the most mainstream show on the planet, YouTube, but we do try to keep a like ratio of 2 to 1. So if we have 100 of you watching, we do need to have 50 likes. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to go into details on it. That's just the way this channel operates. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We post videos every single week, long form, as well as our lives. Last night, we posted a video with Kyle from our trip recently to New Hampshire, where we did a fun take with hot stocks, eating hot wings, talking about our trading careers, our journeys, a little bit into our personal lives. It's juicy, it's fun, it's spicy. Go check it out sometime in the middle of the day when you're bored and you're having lunch. All right, Huddie. Talk to me. It is Tuesday. We had a long weekend, right? Memorial Day. Thank you to all those who serve. And so we're kind of jumping in here midweek, Tuesday. And, Max says the T+1. We can hit on that later. I think that does start today, I believe. But maybe tomorrow. Give me a temperature gauge. Last week, talk to me about from 2 weeks ago to last week to where we can expect to go this week. Do have a 200% plus runner already in cheapy land. What are your thoughts?
Going back to Friday, we had LUCY, which kind of set the temperature, at least for me, kind of saying, hey, do we have continued momentum? Do we have spillover from last week? Is FFIE still a thing? Is the crowd still here? Is dumb money still here? And, LUCY up from 25 cents to the dollar region on almost 1 billion shares traded in that day. So that liquidity is still here. That chasing environment is still here. That opportunity still exists. So I am excited for the market this week, as I was last week, as I was the week before, ever since GME kind of started this whole rigmarole. And, just going to keep kind of having the same mentality, the same strategies that have been working for me in this environment until I no longer see stocks up 400% and trading 1 billion shares on the day. LUCY was Friday. We're coming into Tuesday now. So 3 new stocks for you guys that are all gapping up and trading decent volume here in the pre-market. Maybe 2, not 3. But as long as we have 1 from Friday and then maybe another one today, I will continue to be excited about these market conditions. Volatility breeds opportunity, and that's what we're seeing.
Volatility breeds opportunity. Yeah. Very interesting, Huddie. I love the way you put all that. Really, really interesting. I'm kidding. It is. I don't know. I'm being sarcastic. But yeah, the low price theme continues. It's nice to see. I remember you did a stat. I don't know when it was. Maybe at the beginning of this year when you just started looking at gappers more and just how many stocks there were under $1. Like, was a record-setting number. And so there is a primed amount, quantity-wise, of them to be pumped, to be pushed, to be catalyzationized. And we've seen it over the past few weeks, from FFIE to CRKN to SINT to SLNA to LUCY to today. We have, drumroll please, Mr. STSS. Welcome to the party. 200% up on the day. 13.81 million float, 10 million market cap. Medical instruments and supplies industry. Let's take a look. I know it started to run after hours Friday from the looks of this PR releases. We haven't seen one since 2 months ago, which tells me, with my nice little peanut brain, that this was probably a sympathy to LUCY on Friday after a stock goes from 20 cents to over $1. It is very rare in most markets, let alone the one we've been in, which is a very chasers heavy. What do you call them? Hackler? What do you call them? Heckles? Jackals. Buying up anything that fits the same price range, the same theme, the same industry, whatever it can be. In this case, we've had a lot of 20 to 30 cent stocks doing the thing. And I'm guessing after hours, we'll take a look at the chart in a minute, that STSS probably started to push and then is gapping this morning up 200 plus %, 233% to be exact. Looking at dilution tracker right now, with just a website we use as a guide to kind of peel through the filings quicker. Spit us out some information on what the company can do in terms of dilution. How can they dilute you, the shareholder, and put money in their pockets by using the stock price? And we have overall risk high across the board here. Red. They have no money. They burn $1.89 million a quarter, and they have negative 0.1 months of cash left. They're in progress of a May 2024 1A offering. I'm looking at STSS, right? Okay. Some warrants at 64 cents, 8.7 million left. And more warrants at 64. February 2023 warrants at 64. Anything in there you want to dive into a little deeper?
No, it's pretty straightforward. You have 16 million warrants at 64 cents. So that is dilutive right there. Now 16 million warrants at 64 cents, and it's trading 84 million shares in the pre-market. We might overload that with the volume. Even if they do execute them all, it might not even matter. But it all depends. Like, are we going to trade LUCY type of volume today, or is most of the volume going to come in the morning? It stuffs, it crashes, and they don't actually get an opportunity to sell during the market hours. Just knowing that 64 cent area is there is good. I'm going to tuck that in the back of my mind. Also, just tucking in the back of my mind that it is a sympathy play to LUCY. We have another like medical instrument, healthcare type of stock, which LUCY is quite similar. So I wouldn't underestimate it. I wouldn't say like just because there's warrants it has to come down. Again, I think the volume could easily overwhelm that amount of warrants. But at the same time, like, we've had a really significant move. That's up 200% in the after hours of pre-market. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are profit takers in this stock from where it started from. And we could be closer to the end of it than at the beginning. So for me, like personally, if I was going to be long STSS, I'd be selling it, right? I wouldn't be hanging on to a stock that's up 200% in the pre-market.
You like 200% gap ups?
Yeah, I like those profits like that. That's good.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can't tell you last time I was in a 200% gap up overnight, but I would be it would be the type of thing that makes me jolt out of bed and run downstairs to hit the sell button.
What sucks is my buddy tried to pump this to me Friday at like 3 p.m. I got a text message on my phone from a good friend.
So after hours, 6 p.m.?
No. This was
Eastern?
An hour before market close. It was at like 22 cents. And he said, I'm buying this as a sympathy for LUCY. I said, why? He said, because it's a medical device and it's a low float and it's the same price range. And I said, okay, have fun. And then I put my phone away, and I didn't buy it. I didn't take the alert, and now it's up 200%. So.
Yeah, and something simple as that, I can go back to dilution tracker and just kind of show you guys. So this is Lucy Innovative Eyewear. Obviously was running from 20 cents to over $1 on Friday. Just kind of how people find sympathies and how people, how it's not always necessarily a science, but kind of an art on how people find the next one and maybe find it early. I know Roland is just phenomenal at doing this. Even something as simple as just price range, obviously been hot, low price stocks, been running insane percentages. But then what you just said there, industry, medical instruments and supplies, you go to STSS, medical instruments and supplies, not one that you see every day. And just enough, no catalyst, no PR to get it popping in after hours. And then you see pretty insane move, 21 cents to as high as 54 there in after hours, kind of consolidated around 40 cents before gapping up this morning into the 70s. Love to see it. Anytime we have gappers, even if I'm not going to trade them and don't really see myself trading STSS today, I do love seeing it. I love seeing momentum. I love seeing jackals. I love seeing chasers because I want these stocks to go as far as possible. I want people to get squeezed to maybe, clean it up on the backside or at least have opportunities ahead for potential breakouts for screen days, all that good and fun stuff. When we dive into the STSS daily chart and we go back a few years, looks like it got going in 2022, has pretty much been top left to bottom right since then, whereas our lowest price was just days before this move we're seeing right now. You got obviously some clear support and resistance in the dollar area all the way as high as $2 with some decent volume days topping out in the 150s in the 90-cent area. But this morning's volume in pre-market is already at 85 million. So it is going to be on Billy Boy watch, depending how the first few hours go. But yeah, already this volume is pretty insane. I know Huddie hit on the potential dilution, the warrants at 64. We'll see if those slow the stock down at all. But if volume continues to churn, I think it's pretty clear that this is going to be the main one that people are looking at this morning. I don't really see any other gappers even in close to range. And none of them are like low float, higher price stocks that could interest some short sellers. So I think this is going to be the main watch for the majority of people out there in small cap land. And I myself will be rooting for it to do whatever it can, its best version of itself. But any of your thoughts on this daily chart that kind of stick out to you? It doesn't really have a history of running either. It kind of has a lot of wicks on those volume days to the upside.
Bro, I mean, someone tried to pump it to me on 20 cents and I said no. So
You're buying it here?
I mean, I didn't like jive with the daily chart back then, but I'm not really a sympathy play type of buyer. You're right. It's straight out of Roland's playbook. I have a problem when they don't work out this way and I take losses. I just get really annoyed. So yeah, I mean, I don't really see anything too significant about this chart. Didn't really pop out at me. Don't really have proper expectations here. And now that it's up 200%, like I definitely don't want to be long, regardless of the chart. I just don't want to be long stocks that are up 200%. So it looks like for me, like the play has already come and gone and I've missed it. And now it goes on a watch list for maybe a later date where maybe it sets up in a different type of pattern. Who knows? Just being aware of what it is, why it's up, and how it got to where it's gone, I think is most important. If the play has already come and gone in terms of like what pattern were we looking for? Sympathy play. Sympathy play runs 200%. Okay, sympathy play is done. And then maybe it resets up, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm with it there. So that is STSS, your LUCY sympathy. LUCY actually pretty big gap down there, down 35% this morning after a pretty insane move. I know a lot of people swing short overnight, a lot of people buying for the swing overnight. I know Huddie's been chirping a lot of data on the Billy Boys, those stocks that do 1 billion shares a day, and this one just narrowly, I don't know if his list included 900 million plus, but gonna throw a wrench in it.
I'll tell you what, it didn't.
It didn't what?
It didn't include 900 million plus. It included 1 billion plus.
All right, so just short of a Billy Boy, and we get a 35% gap down, but it was a pretty incredible. What was the number on the day? 500% up on the day, 400%.
Yeah, it was
pretty incredible move.
Yeah, impressive. They also had a bunch of warrants at $1.05 there on LUCY, so maybe that was part of the agenda. We could see that it kind of got pushed into $1.05, and that ended up being the top, at least for yesterday, maybe forever, who knows. But there were a bunch of warrants up there. Not too many, but enough to be enticing for someone.
Yeah, I also think it maybe was just a little bit too strong of a close. That last hour, it spent the entire time pushing into the ones and maybe wore out a lot of longs up in that area.
Well, and that's the thing. I think you had a situation where if you were short, risking $1 or sizing into $1 or, fighting it all day, you maybe got squeezed out right there. So, coming in today, there's maybe less short sellers and Maybe that's what's causing the gap down. I could see that.
Yeah. The next one on our list is one that was on my watch list that is already having its move here. PEGY, Pineapple Energy, up 63% here in the pre-market. Probably one that you guys talked about when I was out golfing. Let's just do a quick rehash if there's anything you remember that really stood out to you from their filings and their dilution. 95
I
mil
don't
float,
think
27 mil market cap. 3 days ago, they had some stupid news about their subsidiary. Sun Nation signs 1.95 megawatt project. Anything else?
I mean, I don't think we've talked about this one too much. It's never really had all that great of a gap. 61% today being one of the bigger gap ups it's had since May 15th. For me, I haven't really been paying too much attention to PEGY. I know it's a popular Twitter pump coming out of Moon Market's mouth on a lot of his YouTube videos. So I try to stay away from the heavily traded, Twitter pumps, unless they set up really perfect and ideal. PEGY has been choppy, kind of moving up into this breakout level, but has had some good breakouts in the past. Things I'm looking at in the future is they have this big July 1st vote coming up. They just talked about it on their preliminary proxy. They're not only approving one for like 200 reverse split, one for 150, something like that, but they're also looking to increase their authorized share count. So they can only dilute up to a certain amount of shares outstanding right now, and they have a lot more dilution to dilute with. But since their share capital is capped, they can't actually dilute until this meeting goes through and they get authorized to expand their shares outstanding. They're authorized. So July 1st, maybe that opens the door to the floodgates. Again, where we are at July 1st, I have no idea relative to where these warrants are
Long
priced.
time.
Right now, they're in the money.
Long ways
long
away.
time. Right now, they're in the money. I imagine a reverse split is going to happen. I imagine another PR is going to happen. And then I imagine that might be past July 1st and they dilute. So I don't understand why it's running today. Again, like I know there's a lot of Twitter heads, Twitter eyes on it. So slightest chance of a PR, chasers market, jackals, price range, the whole thing. They just jump to the next one. A lot of these will fail. A lot of these are horrible companies. Some of them will do the LUCYs. For me, again, I don't like the game because I don't think it's a high win rate. But right now in this market, I'm sure you're getting paid nicely. And again, when this market kind of turns off and it's no longer this type of sector or theme, I just hope that that person who's trading these actively knows how to turn it off. Because as we've seen, there have been a lot of offerings. There have been a lot of down days. These stocks can lose a big percent of their gain in a very quick amount of time. They're very cheap stocks and they are risky, both on the greed and the fear side.
Yeah. We'll see where this one opens. It was on my list for this multi-day breakout over 28-ish. I did participate in the 1 through 21s. Was kind of underwhelmed with the follow-through there. So I do have kind of a little bit of, not really fear, but less inclination to want to play this for a swing. So if I were to participate in this today, like if it opens in the mid to high 30s, it's gone. Say goodbye to it, wave goodbye. But if it opens in that 26 to 30 cent area, we'll be watching it this morning. Volume already is quite good. So we'll see what it's kind of on track for going into the rest of the day. But definitely long bias here. I dove into the fundamentals here with someone last week and kind of came to the same conclusion as you. But we'll see. If it could completely lose this gap, do a ton of volume here in pre-market and open at 20 cents. And in that case, I would be done with it as well. A lot of time here till the open, 23 minutes. So we will see what it has to offer, but that is like your secondary biggest gap of the day, lagging far behind STSS. Someone also wrote that there is a catalyst, that they entered into a definitive agreement. I do see that in the filings. They had an 8K on 5/24. I can't see what time. 15:47, or wait, 16:15:47. So 4:15 p.m. in the after hours on Friday. All right. Let's see if there's any other gappers sneaking up. Any other gappers you want to hit on here? Do you want to hit on just GME situation over the weekend?
I don't think there's much to talk about, but we can.
We can. Before then, I know there was a lot of you asking who were like in the most recent boot camp, like, can we watch it online? Can we go to it virtually? And we always tell you no, you got to be there in person. And we listened. We heard you. So June 22nd to the 24th, we will be doing a regular virtual boot camp, the same structure, the same process that we go through when we do them in person. We've done them in New York, we've done them in Boston, we've done them in Arizona, had a great time, and we've had, great communication with you guys. We've had cocktail hours, in-person meetups, live trading. It's been a really great, fun time doing it. And instead of doing one in person, we decided the next one we would kind of appeal to everybody and allow those who don't want to travel, can't travel, have families, don't have the time to do something like that, or to commit to it, or just don't want to spend probably thousands to go on a trip for their education. This is your time to get it done from the comfort of your own home, your car, your house, your chair, your office. I don't care where you want to watch from, but it will be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the same format that we always do, where we'll have guest speakers. All the Clovers will present as well. 30 minutes to an hour long presentations. We'll do a Q&A where you guys get your questions asked and answered. We will do roundtables, and we'll do live trading on Monday, and it will be a good old fun time, the same format that we always do, Saturday the 22nd through the 24th. And we're looking forward to that. If you want, there is a link in the description if you want access or more information on that, or over at clovertrading.io. GME, Mr. Jimothy. So I saw it running. I saw a lot of people trying to bounce this over the past, myself included, over the past week, and it just turned into a choppy mess. Reminded me a lot of the breakout in the 17th, where it just, every time it looked like you were going to get the move, didn't happen. Starts to consolidate near its lows. Again, not what I've been telling the Clovers over in the room. It's not your typical first green day reversal. You can't treat this like you would those where I'm buying a 5-minute high break and risking low a day. This stock is very choppy. It's all over the place. There was also massive dilution on the backside of this crazy run from 17 into the $80 area. And then we kind of faded off on Thursday and Friday, broke through these lows. I think a lot of people quit, gave up on it. So it doesn't surprise me or shock me that once we got rid of all those buyers and sellers, that we had a clean move. We also got word that they completed their ATM, correct, Mr. Jimothy?
Yeah.
And we kind of ran into the after hours, back into range in the 22, 23 area, and we are consolidating right near 24 right now. What say, Huddie? I say I'm done with it. I'm done trying on it. This isn't a pattern for me anymore. It's kind of an interesting gapper, 26% of the day, so it does fit criteria to talk about this morning. But I'm much more interested in the potential, if this were to have a big bounce, 30 to 40, on what that could look like versus trying again to capture this move when we're so far away from support. I really, had the idea of kind of buying in the low 20s, risking wide, and letting it either play out for a $5 to $10 bounce or stop me out. It stopped me out. And here we are this Monday morning. You also probably have AMC gapping a bit in sympathy to it, coming off of its lows as well. So what are your thoughts?
I'm first of all, I'm not a first green day buyer, so there's very little interest I have in this move in the first place. But if I am just kind of looking at this objectively, my thoughts are I'm more bullish today than I have been in any day in the past 8 days. I know it maybe feels like it's extended at 24, but I also feel like we have a number of variables that we could marry and start to build a thesis. Again, it's not my thesis. I really don't have a plan to buy this, but I could start to say to myself, okay, we have an ATM that, hit the market, and since then they've completed their ATM. So although there was a lot of overhead selling pressure, now that overhead selling pressure potentially is done, they've put maybe cash in the bank and have made money from that ATM. So both of those things are relatively bullish in variables. Just that's what I think, at least. On top of that, you have a cult stock that has a cult following, who might be perceiving this as stock at discount. Stock has better fundamentals, XYZ. So the crowd might be coming back and flocking to their Roaring Kitty humble abode. I actually think GME has a stronger crowd than any other stock that we've seen spike in the past week and a half. So if any of them can spike, AMC, you still have that dilutive presence, whether from the most recent offering, or maybe the 5 other offerings they've done in the past year. So I still think there might be some problems with AMC, and it's also not the main runner, whereas GME is. So I see a world where maybe 24 holds for a top, and then it starts to spike through that and go towards 26, 27, 28, 30. I don't think that's an impossible world to imagine. Now that we have kind of a bullish catalyst in the background pushing the stock, as well as the mob. Again, it's not for me. I just see a world where it works, right? So I think it's interesting. I think it should be one watch. I think it's one of the main runners of this month. And, lightning can strike twice. So
this would be third time.
You think the third?
I mean, if it did it, but it's kind of crazy.
I feel like we're still in the storm. We're still striking.
We've had like the turbulence went down, but we're still like not out of the danger zone yet.
Still a couple tornadoes. We got to get through those.
Yeah, they sold 45 million shares at an average of 20.74.
That's pretty good.
That's incredible. They put $2 billion in their pocket.
And they were a $5 billion market cap at 17 before this whole thing started. So
8 billion.
Adding 2, huh?
They're at 8
now.
Yeah.
Well, they were at some number, now they're at the higher number, and putting $2 billion in the bank relative to that market cap it sounds good fundamentally. Look, I'm not a fundamentalist. I don't know shit about GME, but that sounds good to me.
I think,
if that sounds good to me, the Jackals are going to love that.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting situation with GameStop now because you do have extremes on both sides of the equation, the short sellers and the Jackals. And I think this buys GameStop a lot of time, regardless of what their actual balance sheet shows and what they actually produce in terms of actual profits. I think it just buys them a lot of time. So it's interesting to see this develop over time. And what this means going forward. It will always be one that's on watch. Doesn't mean we're clicking buttons on it, though. Alrighty. I don't see any other new gappers appearing this morning. Looks like XCUR is popping this morning. Low price stock. But we are out of time. So that is your biggest ones of the day. STSS. Did a little bit of GME talk as well. Salima says it's Tuesday. Did I say it's Monday?
Feels like Monday.
Feels like Monday. It is Monday. It's the first day of the week. 4-day week wrapping up May. I hope you guys are all having a great May. And if you're not, I did just do a video lesson last night for all you 4-leaf clovers. It's a long one, 35 minutes. So make sure you sit down and have your popcorn. But I do try to be open and honest with you guys about my performance over the past week. Not so great. And kind of talking about changing rules up, being more disciplined, and how I plan to kind of get things going into this week, into the new month as we approach the halfway point of the year. But looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Kaya will be joining us for a little bit of live trading. Had a lot of you watching this morning, so really do appreciate it. Appreciate the likes, appreciate the views. Make sure to go check out our other content here on YouTube. It is free, so make sure you're subscribed. And we will see you tomorrow morning, 9:15 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. We are headed over to the Clover room, so hope you all have a glorious and blessed day.